Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back to your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Xinfin Network, aka XDC. So let's just dive in, and let's start off with this tweet here from TradeTech. So we do see Andre Kasserman, CEO at TFD Initiative, gives his expert opinion on TradeTech's offering and why we were chosen as the TFD Initiative's core tech. Now, before I do play this video, the reason why I'm including this video is from our recent post that we've seen from Andre Kasserman, which was talking about technology providers around trade tech, or I shouldn't say trade tech, but around trade finance. And trade tech did come up quite a bit, which we will jump into and address here in a second. But first, let's listen into the video. It's about a minute and 25 seconds long, so listen closely.
For TFD Initiative, TradeTech is the core technology provider. Why? Because TradeTech has an exclusive focus on the trade distribution space.
And of course, you see the logo back there, XDC, but also up here, Anigio. Pay attention to some of these logos because they are crucial for the rest of this video.
And being able to offer a comprehensive set of distribution capabilities from bank to credit insurance, bank to credit to institutional investors, and now also with Strata and the new token, bank to retail investors. So the specialization on trade finance as a first illiquid asset class is key, and the focus on the distribution space and the capability to provide a comprehensive set of capabilities offers to the banks a one-stop shop for the trade distribution activities. Over time, we are enhancing the trade tech proposition with additional illiquid instruments. They have to be made more accessible to institutional investors thanks to automated distribution processes. They might be outside of trade finance, but they will still be illiquid assets that institutional investors want to tap into, and that's what TradeTech is definitely focusing on.
So, with that little bit of a breakdown on what TradeTech is really offering, doing, and ultimately disrupting, I do want to bring you guys over to this post. So the LinkedIn post is the one that we are mainly focused on. So we do see here, what have I said years ago? And this is obviously from Andre Kasserman over on LinkedIn. Specialization makes success. Technology innovations need to focus on becoming the best at one segment, or one function, or one capability, and only then expand to additional value propositions. What do you see? When it comes to serving banks, non-bank lenders, and institutional investors in the distribution space, TradeTech has it all to transform private debt and real assets into securities. Now, let's take a step back real quick. So mainly when we focus on tokenization, specifically within trade finance, we mainly talk about digitizing the trade documentation aspect. But here we actually have a little bit of a different viewpoint. So trade tech is actually disrupting the debt market as well as real asset securities, meaning, you have real estate, you have debt. I mean, there's so much potential here. And we do see the most comprehensive platform for automated trade finance distribution is available for trade originators to increase balance sheet velocity and for capital markets to easily tap into a new real economy investment class. This is how we will address the $2 trillion trade finance gap. Simple to understand, but very complex to build. Delivered, proven, and adopted. And this is huge. This is huge. TradeTech has been a giant of a name around XDC and Xinfin for a while, especially with the traded token. With XDC, I think that that's a big game changer. It allows banks to be exposed to the retail sector and allows them to trade in a much faster way. Also, there's a lot of other opportunities within that, which we have addressed in past videos. But I think that this is very, very interesting. I think that TradeTech is an absolute giant. Everyone should be focused on TradeTech if you haven't already been focused on them. But everything that we have been seen from them, from their product offering, as well as from their recent updates, I really do believe that TradeTech is an intricate part of the evolution of trade finance with, of course, the help of Xinfin. Now, over here as well, We do see Andre Kasserman giving thanks to individuals from the Euro Banking Association, open forum on digital transformation. This was a little bit of a conference. There was quite a bit of names there, but we do see I will update the EBA payments community on policy and technology in receivables, financing, and payment obligations, and how we are working with regulators to embrace new technologies such as DLT to support negotiable instruments and tokenization of trade assets. This is through the DNI and the TFDI. Remember, these are two big organizations that are focused on digitization and tokenization of the trade finance market itself. This is a huge game changer. This event will be happening on March 16th. So if you guys do want to add this to your calendar, there will be a virtual conference, I'm pretty sure, with this. I think that you'll be able to tap in and listen in. But if there isn't, then it's okay. We will see quite a bit of updates being pushed over on Twitter. I will obviously be updating you guys once we do have those updates live, but I do think that this is a big one because, again, like I said, trade finance around the world is being disrupted. It is going to be one of those markets that, in my opinion, trillions of dollars is going to be tokenized. And it's also the idea that we are opening the doors for economic growth within these markets as well, which will spread globally. It will be a global push and harmonized push as well around policy and regulations to allow this to take place, which we've been focused on quite a bit with the United Kingdom, as the UK has been moving very fast within this transformative push towards digitizing trade finance. Now, talking about that, over here we did see from the UK, shout out to Dr. Martin Heisbowick over on Twitter, but we do see Mercor, the global trade-focused fintech group, today announced that it has executed a trade finance transaction utilizing an electronic payment undertaking (EPU) structure, working with Abercor, a UK-based sugar trader and advisory firm. Now, I have the full breakdown here. It's the first ever digital bill of exchange deal in the UK. So as we do look into this, there's actually an update on who they're utilizing for their initiative here. So we do see that Mercor completed the financing using an electronic payment undertaking based on International Trade and Forfeiting Association's ITFA, Digital Negotiable Instruments, DNI initiatives, Digital Bill of Exchange text, and DDoC specification. The digital document was issued by Trace Original. You guys know what that is? That's through Anigio, a solution for digital original documents provided by Swedish fintech Anigio. And the transaction was entirely digital, with no parallel paper bill of exchange being created. This is the first digital bill of exchange in the UK. And there are going to be many further pilot use cases within the pipeline. We hope to support market adoption and get much needed funding into the well-publicized $1.7 trillion global trade finance gap, which we know it's actually $2 trillion. But this is an absolute game changer. This changes basically everything. I want you guys to understand that the DNI is moving extremely fast, and we all know that Xinfin is a part of that, but also you might be wondering, well, Nick, this doesn't include Xinfin at all. Like, this is just Anigio, right? Just Anigio Trace Original. Well, let's take a look at this. So over here we have a thread. It got fully rolled out. This is from Utility Theory. And we do see, wow, China Systems integrated its solution with Anigio Time, and Anigio's DLT-based solution uses XDC for the underlying technology for securely transferring digital documents originals. And if we look down here, we actually do see from Andre Kasserman, this is when that announcement got pushed. And then down here, so let me open this real quick. To achieve this, China Systems has fully integrated its solution with Anigio's Trace Original, which is a DLT-based solution, enabling the processing of freely transferable digital original documents. And then over here, we have the Anigio post itself. This is from the Anigio website, digital original documents. And then also down here, we do see, let me zoom out real quick so that you guys can see this. So this is the DDoC compliant vendors 2020 to 2021. We see Anigio, China Systems, and Finastra. Now, you won't see Xinfin on this page, but you will see a few names that I'm sure that a lot of you are aware of, like ITFA. The DNI itself is also a big one, but overall, this is how it works if you guys do want to read this, but I do have a little bit of another update within this. So we do see currently the legacy banking system has major problems with moving original trade documents. They mostly deal with paper and have to store copies. Inigio acts as a digital notarization service for verifying the documents, reducing the need for paper system. Here you guys have a few of the updates on how it works. Like I said, over here is the actual process of this. You have the paper documentation, you have the original versus copy, possession, transferability, presentability, data privacy as well. And here's the trace original. And this is all digitized, by the way. And then down here, we have two other posts. This is where we kind of get a breakdown on Inigio and how it's offered, the names behind it. Very large banks, by the way. Ultimately, we don't need to go in depth on this. I'm sure that you guys are all aware on how it works by now. But if we come down here and we actually see everything around this, we do see paper invoicing and global trade between SMEs also creates a lot of headaches and friction. It creates a very slow verification process that's hard to keep track of. Inigio and XDC network can solve this by digitizing each invoice on a decentralized platform, easy to access. And here you guys have a little bit of an update on this. Here's another post, difficulties with paper and cross-border trade. And then over here, we also have innovation-led change. You see all of the markets being disrupted within this. And then down here, we also see a little bit of an update on how this could all work in the real world. And then down here, we do see the tech stack provides a decentralized transfer model that settles for a fraction of a penny and instantly and is tracked as an immutable ledger for life. Or on an immutable ledger for life. XDC is the underlying infrastructure that Inigio is built upon. And for those out there that are wondering, here you guys have, I'm going to open all three of these. So the first model here is the evolution of centralized models to a distributed model, aka DLT. See the breakdown here on how all of this will work. This is a DLT-based digital notary. And then over here, we also have the tech stack. This is the tokenization infrastructure. Anything that is being tokenized, meaning, guess what? We're essentially tokenizing those paper documents into digital formats. XDC is the one that is doing the tokenization. So just imagine the amount of demand that Xinfin as a network will have once we see massive amounts of global adoption of trade tech, or I shouldn't even say trade tech, trade finance digitization use cases like this. This is a huge use case. And we see Inigio at the forefront. We see the core trade finance technologies, which is China Systems and Finastra. Document processing solutions, this is Trade Stream as well as Naboo. And then XDC, tokenization infrastructure. And we also see the advisors down here, which again, Andre Kasserman is a part of this through Kasserman Advisory. You also see the other advisory boards here as well. And then down here, we also have the other one. So example of integration between Inigio, China Systems, and TradeStream. You could see how all of this will work. You have the document or trade document compliance and processing down here. And pretty much all of this is going to run through an entire process of that life cycle. But this looks complex, right, for most people, but this is actually going to be very, very quick because, again, utilizing XDC as that tokenization infrastructure, it's going to be settled in, first off, it's going to be settled for a fraction of a penny, also instantly, and it's tracked on a DLT. And then down here, if you didn't know, there's a shipping crisis going on in the world right now. Now, this goes back a little bit in time. Obviously, today, this is still a big issue. But if you could have settlements in real time, for example, we foresee a paperless world of trade finance where documents are shared digitally, processed automatically, with settlements possible in real time between parties based on data alone. The ITFA-led DNI initiative is a significant step in that direction, and we are excited to be part of it. And yeah, Xinfin is a focus point because they are a leading name next to some of the largest ones out there if you actually look at some of these names. So Let's take a quick look at this. So here's the TFDI, building the global trade finance distribution community. Look at all of the major names tied to this, the banks out there. And then we have TFDI down here, infrastructure provider. And here are those major infrastructure providers. And you do see XDC being one of them. And we do see the ITFA fintechs, 41 in total, constitute the most comprehensive group of fintechs working in trade finance. From specialist utilities to platforms to big tech vendors and advisors, meet them during several fintech panel sessions at ITFA 2021, which obviously this passed, but these are some of the largest ones out there. And again, some of these are advisory groups, so most of these are not actually the offerings. But going back to the initial post up here where we talked about the process of how this will work, right? So going back to this name, you have Sullivan, Anigio, China Systems, Finastra. Again, most of these are up here or either core technologies. The only one that has tokenization as an infrastructure is XDC. So this is a big game changer, especially for trade finance. Now, this does go in depth on a few other things as well. Like I said, utility theory has been absolutely killing it with this. But ultimately, when we look at the Xinfin network and when we look at what XDC is being offered us for trade finance, it is essentially the tokenization infrastructure around digitizing the entire trade finance market. Having this at that core infrastructure area, meaning it's the only one that's really tokenizing things like this. I think trade tech might also be doing this through Xinfin. I think that they're utilizing the same exact process here as having XDC being the tokenization infrastructure. But if you think about how large of a scale this is going to provide for the network, like the network is going to be utilized every single day, every single hour, every single second. And could you imagine the demand globally from the trade finance market? It is ultimately going to change everything. These processes, these DLT technologies that are focused on markets like trade finance, they are ultimately disrupting a significant part of life. They will ultimately become a key player in the entire transformative push towards digitizing these industries, these sectors. And I really do think that this is a game changer. I think that everyone that is ignoring XDC right now will miss out on once in a lifetime opportunities, very similar to like XRP with cross-border payments or HBAR or whatever token you're looking at. A lot of these have significant use case advantage over anything else within this market. XDC's use case might not be exciting to most people, but if you know and understand the inefficiencies that is happening right now globally, especially around markets like trade finance, you'd understand the significant potential and also value behind something like this. And I'm very, very excited for this. A lot of things are being pushed. A lot of things are happening. I think that this announcement from Mercor was a big one. I think that this is huge, especially having Anigio being at the center point for this around tokenization, because again, when we look at the gaps here, like this is say 1.7 trillion, we know that this is actually 2 trillion today. Like that's a large amount of money. Even just small percentages of that could change the trajectory of the value of XDC if you think about it. So very big things are happening. Things are moving pretty quickly. Stay tuned to the that huge conference that's happening, or I shouldn't even say conference, it's like a meeting. We do see working capital management goes digital. What can we expect and what should we demand? March 16th. Mark it on your calendar. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on if you guys have more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. So it's up to you all. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night. Wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, this has been Nick. Peace out, guys.